Hey guys, Dave from Nerdarchy, for nerds by nerds. Hang out with this nerd.
Nerdarchy is dead.
Today we're going to delve into another Unearthed Arcana, and we're going to get a little fiendish today.
Jump down the description below where you can sign up for Nerdarchy the newsletter, get weekly gaming tips, as well as learn how to game with Nerdarchy.
As always, we'll put a link to the Unearthed Arcana there. So we got another Unearthed Arcana. This one is very October themed.
Fiendish options.
We get options for devils, we get options for demons, their followers, and Tieflings. So take your pick. It's pretty beefy. There's a lot here. It wasn't a particularly exciting read, I want to say, but I like the content. I thought it's very useful, and I think this is some great options for players and DMs alike in here.
8 pages of goodness that's not littered with lots of story stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of like a little bit. It's like kind of like reading a stereo manual a little bit, because it's like this does this. Here's what you get. Blah blah blah.
So
but go ahead.
So there's three different types of things, and we'll cover it section by section. So the first one is Tiefling subraces, and you get a handful. You get 1, 2, 3, 4. You get 9 options. One of which they say is, hey, use the one out of the player's handbook, but it gives you something to do with it. Then they get into diabolical cults, and these are linked with abilities that you can give your NPCs. But technically, if you wind up having a bent or an evil twist on a person in your party or the adventuring party itself, you might offer these up as abilities. It's like, well, you don't want to go full warlock, but what if we dabble in this? And then we get into the full-on demonic boons, and that's where it really gets into you could give it to a player or you could give it to an NPC. And
so that's like an overview of each of the sections. Now, the Tiefling options, basically what this does is, what ability other than charisma do you want to get a bonus to? Like that pick, you can literally do that pick.
Right.
And then in addition to that, you're also going to replace the spell-like abilities that the Tiefling gets in the player's handbook. So those are two things that you mechanically you take into consideration, or you can just go, oh no, this is my lineage here. I want to be from Asmodeus or Beelzebub or Dissipator or whatever. Whether you're going for story and role playing or you're taking the mechanical bent of it. Many of them just give the charisma and intelligence, but there are ones for all the other stats as well, including strength. So which I found interesting.
I actually like the strength build because of the spell options that goes with it. There's a number of classes that would work really well with.
Yeah, if your lineage is Zerial, that's the one that gives you strength. It does have some of the more interesting options. Thaumaturgy as the cantrip, just like everyone else. But then you also get to use Searing Smites, the Searing Smite spell at 3rd level as a 2nd level spell, so it gets bumped. And it's not the first time we've seen that either. Also, Branding Smite is another one that you get as well, which is also pretty cool. Mistopheles is also, his concerns, I believe, are spellcasting and arcane. And because he's the one that gives you magic missile at 3rd level, but you get it as a 2nd level spell, so you're getting more missiles. So like there's some like options like that are sprinkled through that they're kind of cool.
But there's enough flavor text on these guys in here so that it's like, oh well, if you want the Hell's Criminal Mastermind, she grants her tieflings useful magic in committing heists. So you've got things that are geared towards, oh, you want to play a rogue? Here you go. Oh, you want to play a fighter? All right, well, let's go to Zerial. If you're already going with a mage, well, you want to start off by knowing Mage Hand and be able to get Magic Missile?
There's a little bit of a spot there where it felt a little weird to me. Was there's the one for that you just mentioned, and it's like, hey, you want to play a rogue? Do this one,
Glacia?
Glacia, and it's like the bonus to Dex, right? But it's like, but it's also like it talks about criminal mastermind. Yet your bonus is going to Dex. There's another one. It's like secrets, and I was kind of surprised. I think that was, yeah, that's Dissipator. I was kind of surprised with those two. Like they both go Dex, and it's like okay, like clearly it was designed for the rogue, but when I'm reading the flavor text, that's not what I'm feeling. I'm feeling like those are probably more intelligence based.
When you say mastermind, regardless of what else you throw in there, you need intelligence.
Yeah, so they're kind of mechanically they felt a little wonky to me. But again, depending on how you want to build your Tiefling, this gives you a bunch of different options. It's kind of cool. Each one gives you like two, three sentences about that demon lord. So it'll give you a little bit more to go off of as well. Also, like you said, even the Tiefling stuff, it might be useful if you're playing a warlock, not necessarily a Tiefling, but it might give you more insight into, hey, what's my fiendish patron like?
Right. Now there is a little bit of a question I have on the wording. It says like specifically you can cast the spell using the spell slot, where other times where you get things, it says this spell and can do this. So it lends me to believe that if I have spell slots from other things, I can't use this spell in those unless I get that spell elsewhere.
Right. Generally, you can't. So it might be just a cleaning up of language, or something they're doing for the UA. I'm not particularly certain on that one, but it is an interesting point to bring up. So now we get into the diabolical cults. Right, and this part is really cool because if you're using cults in your game, the regular ye old cultist is kind of boring.
You have to take the things that are there and say, okay, well, I have to put it on a humanoid, or I have to give it some abilities to make it be more than the hi, I'm a cultist.
Name is Bob.
Hi, Bob. Like it's just so generic and so blasé. It doesn't really give you any kind of flavor to make it feel like, oh well, this is a cult of something.
This section is really useful because it gives you goals, typical cultists, the signature spells trait, which is very important. So if it already gets spells from somewhere else, it gives you a selection of spells to replace some spells with to make it feel like the theme.
As long as they're of equivocal level.
Yeah, so essentially that's it. And then it also, what they're generally doing here is they're giving you an ability for ye old standard cultists and for the leader type. And
well as what NPC stat blocks you might feel that you could use in these
instead of just the cultist.
Right.
Yeah, so that's really cool. So it gives you a bunch of them, and like each one of these then becomes, a possible threat you can introduce into your game, and then just saying, oh, it's a cult, a Levistus. Well, what does that really mean? Well, you look right here. It tells you what that means. It might give you some different spells to use, and some different abilities that those cultists can have. Some things that your players aren't used to, especially if they've run into other cultists before. This is a way of giving that a different feel.
So I see, looking here, page 3 of the UA, Cult of Dissipator. Goals, power gained and used in secret, influence exerted via blackmail, control of people and organizations through knowledge of their weaknesses and shame. All right, so now you've got this established situation. Typical cults: acolyte, bandit captain, cult, fanatic, cultist, mage, noble, and spy. So now I can take all of those, turn those into actual NPCs, populate my town with them, give them these abilities that they have, and they've already got the goals associated with it. So now how are they working? This small little section, less than half of a page, has given me more than enough stuff for multiple adventures that you could build right off of just that small section.
And and that comes back to, that's when I came back. Like I said, like the way this is laid out, it's not an exciting read, but it's very useful. And you can and you can use it in exciting ways in your game. So I think this is a really good section. This is one of the better UAs for a DM who's running stuff. But not only that too, like think about, if your players have encountered cultists before, and now all of a sudden they come up against 5 cultists, right? But you use 5 different NPC stat blocks, but they're all dressed the same, right? So now their abilities are slightly different. And they're not going to know what exactly to expect, or they're going to expect the wrong thing. So I think there's room to have fun with it. It's a good tool for DMs, I think. Then we get into demonic boons. Apparently demons don't make cults the way devils do, and that's what they're trying to say here. So they're more likely to have, I view it as champions, right? They don't use that word, but individuals who they grant power to. And it's all different depending on what deity you have. They have Baphomet, which is one of my favorites. Demogorgon,
which
Fraz,
everybody knows.
Ulu. Yeah, everyone knows the Demogorgon. Gratz.
Jubilex, Orcus, Yenagu, and then it actually goes into, you want to go away from the named demons. You can go with Balor, Garisto, Marilith, and Nalfeshni.
So one of the things I found interesting too is like some of the stuff they do with these, right? Yenago is like essentially your ye old normal person that you slap this onto, whatever you slap them onto, they get null like traits, which is kind of fun. And they're also laid out in a way that's similar to the cultists. If you're going, oh well, there's a bunch of followers, but there's lesser followers and leaders, where they get different abilities as well. These guys also get stat bumps, like Jubilex. +8 bonus to Constitution.
Up to, with an equal penalty to Intelligence, Wisdom, and Charisma.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, you could be really hardy, but you could be
a vegetable almost. Well, that's what happens when you worships a demon lord of oozes and slimes. It's kind of weird anyway.
So, but I like to, I like that there's some of them, like the Demogorgon, is just up to a +4 bonus to Strength, Charisma, or both. No penalties on that one.
Yeah, most of them are kind of like that. There's just a couple that are like, these are the oddballs, and literally one of them is, it's not so much that you're a champion or a follower, but you've been infected by the spores of, what is it, Zekamat? It's the one. It's like a plant.
Zutmoy?
Yeah, Zutmoy, which is basically a plant, and you become an infested Terran essentially. If from StarCraft, if you remember back in the day, when you die is like your superpower.
You get immunity to charmed and frightened. That's something.
You do, but you get to explode when you die is more important. Far more important. They just need to burrow as well. So, yeah, all in all, this is a great UA. I think for a new DM who's looking for ideas for using demons and cults and devils early on in your game, you're going to be able to take this and drop it right in. And this is like even before you get to the demons and devils. Like, this is going to be their influence. So that's kind of cool. And then more player options are always welcome. I think now at this point, though, the Tiefling is like overkill. With choice between the Skag and Sword Coast Adventure guide for you guys following at home, and in this UA, there's just like so many choices if you're a Tiefling.
So, what do you guys think? Have you had a chance to dive in yet? Are you loving it as much as I am? Let us know what you think down in the comments below. While you're down there, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
You can hang out with us over at Nerdarchy.com.
So until next time, stay nerdy.